Next is fair setup.
Okay. Can everybody hear me? All right. Oh, perfect. All right. Hold on, don't start the timer yet. I need to wait my minutes. Sorry, I really don't have that much roll. All right, whatever. Okay, so you can start now. How many of you manage people? How many of you have ever managed people? Don't be timid. All right, me too. Now, there's a fundamental difference between people who work like your partners and people who work like employees. Employees try to make you happy, partners actually want to make the business work, right? I had the same problem. My previous company, I ran into trouble and I had to solve my own problem. So fair setup is a solution to my pain. What we came up with is a new way to do performance management, basically lots of light touches, expectation-based performance management, and a new way to do compensation. From the performance management, we calculate people's impact, and we compensate people according to that. And off of that, I would like to show you a really awesome video. Full screen.
What is fair setup? Let's say your business is making money and you're paying people. Some are happy and some are not happy. Why? Because they don't think that what's happening is fair. What is fair? Fair is when you compensate according to impact. Impact on overall performance. But what's impact? Now let's say you have a code guy, accountant, a bunch of biz dev people, some sales, marketing, and that's your team. Now, they all have expectations of each other. So impact has to be calculated in a way that all perceive as fair. Let's plot impact with respect to time. First, people have different levels. One person may be junior, the other may be senior. The next is time. When someone starts, they haven't yet had any impact. So their impact gradually grows over time. And when they leave the company, their impact doesn't just drop to zero, but goes down over time. Finally, we have performance. So here, for example, we have someone who was evaluated below expectation, so their maximum level is lower. And how can you do performance evaluations? Well, by your boss, peers, of course your reports, and by yourself. So we go back to our pie with happy and not so happy employees, but now they have impact. And when the pie is divided according to their impact, they feel that it is fair, and so are happy. The Fair Setup Suite has 3 modules. The first is called Fair Impact, which is a performance management system. The second is Fair Pay, which connects bonus to impact calculation. And finally, Fair Share, which connects bonus to company performance. So if the company does well, so does everyone in the company.
Okay, so
for more information, please go to www.
It's tough to compete with my own voice. Demo, might as well. So if we go to, and this is going to be tough, one hand. All right, so my companies. So Clear Growth is one of the sample companies that will show you how. Anyway, you can see here. What things might look like. But now we'll go to my companies and we'll take a look at the awesome Mutex sample company that has me and Chris. So Chris, this is going to be boring. Let's talk about me. Chris is a partner there, so he's going to be evaluating me, and I'm an employee who works like a partner. So here, I started as entry 1, then he evaluated me at poor, so I suck. Then he promoted me to entry 2. I don't know why, but I guess he tried to drive me a little bit. And then I picked up, so I was evaluated normal or expected. So I got promoted to junior 1 and then professional 1. Now look at the graph. If you look at the graph, you see that here initial growth is very slow, and then when I'm promoted to professional, I start growing. But then I get burned out. right? And right now there isn't really a mechanism, very good mechanism to manage burnout. So I just say, look, I'm going to work at 20% of my potential. So my curve starts gradually going down. And then I decide to come back. I come back, I work super hard, and then eventually I decide, okay, I'm done here, I want to move on to greater things, and my curve starts going down over the next 2 years. So effectively what we did is we came up with a way to do fair compensation. And just for, since this is really about making money, here we paid ourselves $1 million, of which Chris got $750,000 and I didn't. So this is the current breakdown. If we look at, let's say, 2014, this is the breakdown in 2014. If we go break in 2016, this is what the breakdown would be in 2016. You can basically see what the breakdown is at any one point in time, and you can do payouts according to that breakdown. So fair compensation, new way to do performance management, and we customize the system for our clients and help them deploy it.
Any questions?
Questions, concerns?
How you hello, very nice school, but I got a question. How you calculate the uncountable impacts?
Yeah.
I mean,
So the question is, how do you calculate impact? So even though we're trying to estimate impact, it's important to know that people don't work for money. They work for other reasons. Money is just the baseline. What people want to know is that they're treated fairly. And what we came up with is we came up with a way to have a very fair and transparent conversation about the relative impact of all the teammates. It's a little more nuanced than it might look at initial glance, but we're not trying to figure out exactly what the impact is of developer over the designer. We're basically saying they're both on the same team, and there's a difference between them, which is reflected in the framework, but we calculate their relative impact using the system, and they're okay with that. Yes?
From a corporate strategy point of view, where do you see yourself on the continuum of offering sort of a generic platform on one extreme versus sort of a whole management philosophy on the other extreme?
Both. I mean, we're studying our strategies. Initially, we were providing a product with our consulting services. So I deployed it at my previous company at Jove, and it worked really well, which is why I started this company. And eventually we're going to be a SaaS where we'll have your verticals for a law firm, for a restaurant, for a tech business, etc. Yep.
How are you selling this?
So, right, it's a really good question. Right now we're trying to figure that out. Effectively right now we're going to conferences, talking to people. So sweet spot is 5 to 100 people, $500,000 to $10 million in revenue, growth stage, or at least that's what we're assuming. And we're going after those companies and trying to convert them. We solve 3 pains: capital, culture, and management. Capital will allow you to stretch capital because people will go in under market rate because now they feel like partners, they feel like they're participating in the upside. Culture, you're changing the dynamic. When you're starting to grow the business, it's a huge problem. You're getting mid-level management that doesn't care the same way, right? And on management side, we increase transparency. So you as the owner of the company, you can see the health of the organization from expectation standpoint. So we figured that we segmented the market in multiple ways, but right now we're going after growth stage as I defined it previously.
And you speak to CEOs mostly?
Yes, CEOs, CFOs, heads of HR, compensation committees, investors. We're going after investors because for them it lowers the risk. So we're trying the different angles. I'd love to hear your thoughts if you have suggestions on how we should go about it. Yes?
Well, you mentioned like sales, management, and such. Ethics, morals play a factor into the data you're capturing? As like a CEO who's been taking a look at graphs for performance. I mean, you talk about transparency, you talk about culture. In my experience, it'll be sales will stretch their figures a little bit, get a little bit more than what they want in an organization.
So here's the thing. If you have an organization, your frontline employees can set expectations of each other, but the manager will oftentimes not know what the numbers are being fudged, right? So if you deploy this, you put everybody in the same bucket. If someone's impact is higher than another, or calculated is higher than another, top-down management style, then you start having internal pressures from bottom up for people to maintain and to stay honest. There are lots of interesting things that happen that basically, in order for the company to work, everybody starts, everybody has to be on the same page. And this is what we do. We get everybody onto the same page. We get them on their personal goals aligned with company goals. That's kind of what we do, so we address that question. Yeah?
What's the largest size company you can see this being used with?
I don't think there's a limit because if you can divide it into business units, and so long as you can identify a KPI for a business unit along with, basically the other business unit, if you have individual revenues or some other KPI that you can tie to it, you can use this. Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so when you're talking about breaking things out into different business units, can you then treat the business unit as its own employee effectively so that you're nesting the different things? And is that within one interface, or do you need a separate interface for the business unit? And then to drill down within the business units, you have to
This is why we're a consulting shop. So the tool that I built is super flexible and can be customized to fit pretty much any workflow. So in some cases, that's what you need. In some cases, so at my previous company, I had to come up with a way to have 5 departments, which you did 1 departments competing with each other. So there was a custom way that I designed that distribution would happen from top down. So the answer is yes.
I got one.
Yeah.
Can you clarify how performance is evaluated? It seemed like all employees evaluate all the other employees.
So how is performance evaluated? Good question. So the way performance is evaluated, really only one question really matters, and that is employee X performing to my expectation? Then the question of how we customize the system to the company depends on the company culture. So in some cases, for instance, I might not be able to have expectations of you if I'm a designer and you're a sales guy, but I can have expectations of your management. Right?
I see.
And I can have expectations that I expect the sales department to perform in a particular way. If it's not performing, it's up to the manager. It's on the manager's
So you
plate.
structure what the relationships are and who is
Yes.
in a position to evaluate each other position.
Yes, and there's a lot of interesting things that happen that even if you do just straight top-down performance evaluation, so only management evaluates along management lines, you still end up with frontline employees pushing each other because, again, if you and I report to the same guy and I'm slacking and you're working super hard, you're not going to be okay with us having the same evaluation.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're going to leave it there. Thank you, Fair Setup.